It's time to get the inside info on BYU with Cougar Insider Mitch Harper of KSLSports.com on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jacob N. Join Scotty G coming up Tuesday from noon to 3 at Sound Sleep Medical, 8941 South, 700 East in Sandy. It's time to check in Kansas City. Of course, he covers the Cougs for KSLSports.com, but he's been covering the entire tournament for KSL Sports as well. He is our buddy, Mitch Harper. Hello, Mitch.
Hey, guys. Happy to be on with you today.
Mitch, you got to see the floor up close and personal. I want to start with the floor. What did you think about it in person? And, we could see it on TV, how badly everyone was slipping. What did it look like in arena?
It got progressively worse over the course of the tournament. I thought last night, all the games, all 4 games, there were a lot more slips than earlier in the week, which was strange. And maybe it was just more wear and tear. I'm not sure. But I think one of the things that really stood out is players that play at a really explosive pace or a lot of speed, like a Rob Wright, they just couldn't make those explosive plays because there were slips 2 times in the second half for Rob Wright in particular. He's trying to make an explosive play, and he slips, and they result in 2 turnovers that were pretty costly for BYU in the second half. The concept of the court, I thought, was awesome, and the execution, the activations, the graphics, the stats, it was really cool because, the value could be, even if you're in the nosebleeds, you could kind of get a unique experience even being up there. So I thought it was a really cool concept, and the fact that the NBA is invested into that court and that company, I thought, this could go off pretty well, but it's a one and done. And I think it was smart by the Big 12 to just say, you know what, we got to move on from this. When Christian Anderson, the Texas Tech guard, got banged up, and he's the Big 12's most improved player this year, when he went out, you just thought, yeah, this cannot happen, because then you're just hurting your conference for the biggest tournament, the NCA tournament. So credit to the Big 12, just realized their maybe mistake here, and then maybe it's too soon for that glass floor, and they're going to the hardwood floor today. And seeing that last night, the grounds crew was all last night installing the wood floor, so that'll be in place today.
What's the vibe about how big a mistake it is? And we'll talk Cougs obviously in a second, but are heads going to roll? Or Ben and I were talking about what a big fail this is, and honestly a big setback for the LED floor industry.
If Adam Silver endorsed it, it's a bad idea.
Obviously.
Yeah, it's just, they just should not have rolled it out for this tournament. The Big 12, I thought, should have rolled it out maybe next year at the Players Era, because the Big 12 has an investment stake now in the Players Era tournament, which has emerged as one of the top MTEs in college basketball. That, to me, would have been the spot, because Thanksgiving week, people settling into college basketball, that feast week, I think that would have been the place to maybe get a trial run, because non-conference games, even if you suffer some losses, you can bounce back from those as a Power 4 team, whereas conference tournament with seasons on the line, and in some cases a guy like Bobby Hurley, jobs on the line, there's just so much on the line in a conference tournament, and to roll it out in this spot, that became the conversation. Every post-game presser, coaches are fielding questions about a court, and it's supposed to be the chase for a championship and the postseason, and instead we're talking about a court. So I just think it was the wrong setting to implement this. The Big 12 generated headlines, and this event is big time. The whole city of Kansas City embraces this tournament, and you can feel it. The locals do care about this event, and it's a big-time event. Last night, the sold-out crowd with the Kansas fans, a lot of BYU fans. So it's a big-time deal. But, again, I just don't think that they needed to throw this out in a postseason event with so much at stake.
So grade BYU's performance, or, was it successful? Was this an unsuccessful run for BYU in the Big 12 tournament?
Successful, because they have confidence now in some of the role players, with Kennard Davis and Dominique Diomande. And Alexei Kostic, you feel like you can maybe rely on them in a key spot. I thought sometimes the stage was a little too big for Alexei Kostic, but Dominic Diamande, he was a revelation because, up until maybe the Cincinnati game a couple weeks back on the road, he was unplayable. He just was never appearing in games. And now he's consistently contributing for BYU and making big plays against a team like Houston that is all about its physicality and toughness, and Diamande in stretches match that challenge. And then you pair that up with AJ, a superstar who looked every bit the part of that this week. I thought it was a successful run, and I think BYU should feel pretty good, all things considered, after the loss of Richie Saunders, that, hey, maybe they can win a game and maybe have a chance to win, maybe two, if the bracket falls their way and they get some favorable matchups. Maybe they can make a little bit of a run. Still, pales in comparison to the preseason expectations, but adjusting after Richie Saunders' injury, I thought it was pretty successful for BYU here in Kansas City.
All right, Mitch, calculating in the factor that BYU always gets screwed by the committee, what do you expect a seed to be at this point?
6 seed, because BYU's got to – I think they'll get a 6 because they'll probably be a 6 because what helps BYU is that there are not many teams in the Power 4 that want to go out to Portland. And I think that helps BYU's possibilities. Not that there's a choice for these teams outside the top 4 seeds, but I think that helps BYU's cause. And AJ is a box office attraction, and people want to see him. He was the big story here, along with the court, was AJ DeBonsa. And, being around him, all the media attention. This was the most credentialed tournament that the Big 12's hosted, they said, in 14 years. There was a lot of, really the whole college basketball media space was here in Kansas City, and they all wanted to be in BYU's locker room and talk with AJ DeBonsa. And so he is a big story, and he delivered. And I think the NCA tournament probably loved to have AJ make a little bit of a run potentially. So I think they get a 6 seed. BYU strength of schedule metrics, they were battle-tested. And I think that's one thing that Cougar fans tend to forget about this season when they were saying it was doom and gloom for the year. They lost 10 games against one of the top 15 schedules in college basketball, and they tested themselves in non-conference, and they're playing in the best league in America. So BYU's been battle-tested. They've faced adversity. They had 2 wins without Richie Saunders over top 10 teams. They've done enough to get a 6. It would have been better to be in that 3-seed territory where they were projecting at the end of January, but again, they were even struggling with Richie Saunders, and for them to show some life here in what Kevin Young calls the 3rd iteration of this year's team, I think they should be a 6. But to your point, there's always surprises with the committee. If it's not a 6, it's probably 7, and then after that, it probably drops down to a 10. So I don't see that extreme. I think BYU probably a 6.
Do they have to get to a certain point in the tournament to feel successful?
Sweet 16, I think that would feel successful. I think anything less than that would feel a bit of a disappointment when you've got a player who could be the number 1 pick and might be the best player in the sport this year. So, yeah, you want to get to the Sweet 16. It feels a lot like, in many respects, like the Kevin Durant Texas year in 2007 where, Texas has a generational guy like KD and they only got to the round of 32. And, KD was awesome, and he still loves Texas and that. And AJ's probably going to be the same with BYU as long as Kevin Young's there, I would imagine. But you want to capitalize and get to the second weekend again, and that would be huge for BYU. They've never done that back-to-back years of going to the Sweet 16, so that could be a successful season without Richie Saunders.
How many 1 seeds do you think the league gets?
I think they only get 1. Maybe Houston potentially gets in as that last 1 seed, but I think Houston's in a great spot where whether they're a 1 or a 2, they're probably going to that South Regional. They're going to have the opportunity to play the regionals in their backyard at the Houston Rockets venue in Houston. So I think they're in they're fine with probably their potential draw, I would assume, if that's how the bracket plays out. So I'd expect just Arizona And Arizona looks outstanding. I don't think they're going to lose a game the rest of the way, and that includes the NCAA tournament. I mean, Krivas in the post, no one talks about him, but he's elite as a big man. And Braden Burries, I look at AJ as the best freshman in the league, and he was the freshman of the year. Darren Peterson's shot-making ability is elite. Saw him in high school in the grind session in person against AJ. I saw him in person at Allen Fieldhouse. It is truly remarkable what he can do. But Braden Burries, he is the forgotten freshman that I think is going to be an absolute stud in the NBA. And Arizona, I think this is their year to go the distance. But I think they're going to be the lone 1 seed. I think you probably have 4 teams in the top 16. I'm really curious to see where Texas Tech lands without Toppin. Anderson gets banged up yesterday. He's expected to play in the tournament next week, but they were hanging on in the top 16 after Toppin goes down in that early look at the NCAA tournament. Do they still stay in there? That'll be something that's of interest to me when it comes to the Big 12. But really good league. I mean, it felt like an NCAA tournament regional last night with those quarterfinal games, and I'm sure tonight will be maybe even better. It's a really good league.
Who do you like tonight, Mitch?
I like Arizona. I mean, I think Arizona against Iowa State, and Tommy Lloyd kind of called out the lack of Arizona fans showing up in Kansas City because really there were very few Arizona fans showing up, which kind of surprised me. I mean, they took over the Pac-12 tournament so many times in Vegas, and I'm sure they wanted this tournament back, in Vegas eventually, like the days of the Pac-12. But so Tommy Lloyd probably realizes they're going to walk into a road venue, basically. Iowa State fans were pretty loud in their game, and it's easy to get loud when you're up big on Texas Tech like they were. But I think that I still like Arizona, even in a spot where they'll probably be facing a road environment. And then I'll go with Houston, too, over Kansas. Revenge opportunity for Houston. I thought Houston didn't feel like they played their best. Even Kelvin Sampson said as much last night. In Kansas, just a mixed bag. I mean, you just never know what you're going to get from them, and especially away from Allen Fieldhouse. I don't like their potential ceiling when they're outside of that building. So I'll go with Houston to have a better performance tonight against Kansas, and then kind of a chalky Big 12 tournament final with Arizona and Houston.
I totally agree with Tommy Lloyd, by the way, but I did kind of laugh at those comments because, those blue hairs aren't living in Arizona because they want to go somewhere like Kansas City
in March.
Yeah. You know what I mean? You can talk those blue hairs into going to Vegas.
Right.
Like, oh yeah, we'll go play some slots.
Yep.
That's a cheer for the Wildcats. That sounds great. Kansas City? Nah. I think I'll stay right here. No, I think having a destination for the conference tournament is cool, and I don't know if Kansas City is that. But tradition's tradition, Mitch?
I would say that this is a much better scene. I've seen all the Vegas.
You like it?
Oh, it's much better. It's
wow.
You got to experience it in person because, again, the whole city embraces the tournament. They embrace it. They love college basketball. Vegas, they don't care. Yeah, it's like you got to go to the slots, you got to go to the casino. Sure, no one cares. There's not an energy about college basketball in Vegas. Like, yeah, it's all the hotels, and now it's overpriced. It's expensive. These people care about college basketball. The hospitality. I mean, it's been really impressive. This is a outstanding tournament. It's just like the NCAA tournament, but there's more access. There's more. I mean, and from the media perspective, it's great. But I think also around it too, with the Power and Light District, they've got like these different Big 12 specific themed at the restaurants. You can get Big 12 food items at these restaurants. I mean, it's just really cool. They embrace it. They got pep rallies. I mean, it's just. If you like college basketball, it's a great event. If you don't like college basketball, then go to Vegas. But if you like college basketball, that's the attraction. And go see your team. And, yes, if you want to then exit, but there's plenty of bars across the street and restaurants. It's just – but if you like college basketball, this is the top of the sport. I think Kansas City's a home run for the Big 12. They should never remove it from here.
I'm not going to stand here and listen to you slander Las Vegas, Mitch. I'm not going to stand
for it.
Look,
I love a good Vegas trip.
I
love a good Vegas trip, but the city just doesn't even care. I mean, you leave the building and you don't know the tournament's going on.
I really actually like, and I would like to experience the Kansas City one too. In the way you explained it, sounds cool. But I did love conference tournament time in Vegas, where you had 4 conference tournaments basically going on over a week and over a week. I did love it. I wouldn't hate it if the Big 12 tournament came back. But yeah, I've been to Kansas City. I know what district you're talking about. I need to experience it, I guess.
I think the thing is just the piece of it kind of takes me aback that people, college basketball is a very niche sport, really, in the grand scheme of things. Like, it's very niche, but like this town seems to just really care, and they're just kind of wired for college hoops, obviously because of Kansas and to a lesser degree Kansas State. But I just think it's just kind of noteworthy to me, and like you just again the hospitality of just the event staff. People are happy. They're kind. You just never get that vibe in Vegas from staff workers. I mean, little things like that, I think kind of add to the experience where you feel like, hey, everyone's just passionate about the games, and it's fun. And I think that the Big 12 glass floor, in theory, kind of added to the fun piece. But then, of course, the on-court slips just made it, a little bit frustrating to watch, I think, for anyone observing. But it's really a fun event, and it's a good one. I mean, because it's really with the high caliber of teams that are in it. I think it's a really fun deal, because the Big 12. And you look at their history; they went to Dallas, they've been to other places, and really the return, the feedback on those locations was just they just didn't care. There's big cities, but this Kansas City really buys in to almost make it feel like it's bigger than even a conference tournament. So it's really fun. It's well organized. I can't complain about it. It's one of my favorite events to cover on the media circuit, if you will.
Mitch, thank you. Continue to enjoy, and we
great
really
coverage, Mitch. Really,
we really appreciate all of it. So great job.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
The one and only Mitch Harper covers BYU for KSLSports.com, but he's covering the whole Big 12 tournament for us. He's done great.
The more I hear about how great it is there, the more I'm convinced it's not going to stay there. That's just how things work.
Because Bert can't make a good decision?
No, because if something works really well, somebody wants to steal it, and Vegas wants to steal it, and we love ruining things. We love ruining, that worked perfectly. Why are we changing it? Why are we moving it to Vegas? Why are we moving it to this big city when it's, perfectly fine there? The Sundance Film Festival here is the same conversation. It's just, we love to take things that are well done and maybe maxing out a city and pushing a city to its limits, like apparently this is for Kansas City, and then putting them in places where they don't care. And I hate to be pessimistic, but I suspect that's what's going to happen with this Big 12 tournament. It can be great. It can be run perfectly. And they can still ruin it because somebody decides, well, let's get greedy. I bet we can make a little bit more money here.
You mean things that work, like the proven concept of basketball being played on hardwood
exactly
for 100 years?
We love to mess with stuff. We love a cat in the wall.
Yeah, we sure do. All right. We will have more coming up next. Drama in college basketball off the floor. We got to get to a little bit of that.
Okay.
Stay tuned. It's Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Who's got it better than us? Nobody! Your home for the best sports coverage in Utah. You're listening to Jake Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We're teaming up with Beehive Meals, honoring people that impact youth sports in our communities. Nominate the youth sports volunteer for the Beehive Meals Hero of the Week at KSLSports.com/contest, and listen every Thursday afternoon to JJ and Alex for the winner. It's the Beehive Meals Hero of the Week. I have a quick couple of stories for you, Ben, for your reaction. Have you've left some exes in your wake?
Innumerable.
How do they speak of you?
Poorly.
Is that true? I don't think I'm familiar with your relationship with your ex-wife. It seems like she would say nice things about you.
I hope so.
Yeah, right.
No, I've dated like 2 women in my life. No.
And okay, so they wouldn't say, "Oh, that Ben," and say something mean.
No, they might. I don't know.
Ben, Christian, who is Madison Pettis?
I don't know if I know that one.
You dated her? Well, you dated her in high school.
No. She's apparently a former Disney Channel star.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
So
we were hitting Christian with a bombshell.
No. She's
Turns out you have 2 kids on the way.
I do know her.
What was she?
Did you ever see the movie The Game Plan with Dwayne Johnson?
No.
Okay.
Okay, but she's in that.
She was an actress when she was a kid, like a child actress. I don't think she's been in a ton as of late, at least nothing notable, but she had a lot of like child roles.
So she went on a podcast last week. And, they were casually talking, and she said that she enjoys watching a basketball game and that she's very much into sports. And she admits that she's a Warriors fan and watches League Pass. But then she added this, Ben. She said, quote, my ex is now in the NBA. When we dated, he was in high school and college. I broke up with him before he was in the league because he was a psychopath.
Oh, okay.
Psychopath. And then she added, I do think a lot of athletes are not great partners, but I wouldn't rule it out because I do love what they do. I would have respect for them and love to talk to them about their passion. Now, if you had to make a guess about who she was talking about, have you seen this story?
I have.
Oh, okay.
I know who it is.
Christian, have you seen this story?
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Michael Porter Jr.
None other
than
the worst PR campaign of the last 12 months, Michael Porter Jr.
Michael Porter Jr., whom they dated for like 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Psychopath. Now, would any of your exes describe you as a psychopath? I probably doubt it.
Maybe. Hope so.
You hope so?
I hope I left a mark.
Well, that Ben is a real psychopath. I don't think they'd describe you as a psychopath.
I don't know.
Ben, you're such a freaking bozo.
Bozo, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But that's fine. We all have a little bozo behavior once in a while.
MPJ is a bit of a psychopath.
Well, didn't he admit that he has his vice, his brother's vice was gambling and his vice is women?
And then he also is notorious for treating these women extremely poorly and is proud about it. He said he would go on dates with women and then make them listen to Andrew Tate being a open misogynist and being like, what's your response?
What do you think?
Yeah, that's psychopath behavior, Michael.
It kind of seems that way, no?
Yeah, Michael, you already own the power in this dynamic of this relationship because you're a trillionaire and you're 6'10" and you're world famous. So the power dynamic's already shifted, and you're going to throw Andrew Tate on to make it more so. Psycho? Okay, what's the next step here? Well, I'm glad she got out of it. I'm glad she avoided him.
All right, speaking of psychos, moving on. And listen, I for the most part in this entire NIL world in college basketball, I have kind of defended the establishment, even though that is long gone. But some of these establishment guys just make it impossible. Enter JP Chunga's favorite coach, Jim Boeheim.
Okay.
The former Syracuse coach, whose hand-picked replacement, Adrian Autry, was canned. Because Syracuse stinks. And they've stunk for a long time. Even when Boeheim was there, they stunk. I'll read you Boeheim's quote here, and you can tell me what you think. And he says, well, you know what happened? You don't have enough resources to put you behind. We look at the ACC, Boston College, Georgia Tech, and now Syracuse, 3 of the least NIL money in the league. You have to look at that. With Adrian Autry, his 2 best players had horrible years. If you take any team in the league and you take their 2 best players and they have really, really bad years, like Cam Boozer and Isaiah Evans had a bad year at Duke, they don't win. That's what happened this year at Syracuse. His 2 best players just didn't play well. At the end of the day, the head coach is responsible. Adrian Autry knows that. I think he's a good coach. I think he got put in a situation where his best players just didn't play the way they needed to play, and it cost him his job.
That's correct. Yeah, you got to get good players. And if you don't get good players, you lose your job. And I'm sorry you didn't find a way to execute or utilize your players the right way, but that is a you problem. And I know he kind of mentions that, but yeah, I don't know what Boeheim's trying to account for here.
Okay. You're highlighting a part of the quote that I don't think whenever you hear a coach say at the end of the day the head coach is responsible, that coach either is about to or just did list off every excuse in the book.
Yes.
It's a cover for It's everyone else's fault. But mine. It's almost, he says at the end of the day, the head coach is responsible. He's saying that the head coach is a victim.
Correct. He's saying all the reasons this guy is not responsible.
Jim Boeheim wasn't listing out the reason why Autry got fired as he was saying that all these clowns failed him and that's why he got fired. At the end of the day, the coach gets fired, but really it's these other bozos that I like. Him throwing the players under the bus is hilarious to me. A guy whose living was made on the back of other people's achievements.
Yes.
You're going to throw those players under the bus, totally negating the fact that it is the coach's job to get the most out of their two best players. John Shire's job is to get the most out of those players. That's literally the job. And it's so funny. He's saying, well, the coach got these two great players to the program and they just ended up stinking out of nowhere. He did his job. Those two buffoons just stink. It's like, and then just to cower behind NIL. I think that's becoming a shield for coaches too. It's other people's. Well, if the donors would step up and pay for a roster, maybe the coach would still have a job. I hated everything about that statement. I hated everything about that quote. And I guess, Jim, you got to defend your guy, but your guy let you down, bro. Your guy wasn't a guy.
Yeah, he wasn't a guy.
Your guy wasn't fit to do the gig.
Jim, you actually haven't been a guy for a while either. And yeah, that's I think the point I was arguing earlier on. It's like, right, all those things failed, and it is his job. So, like, Jim, I know exactly like you're saying. You're trying to point to all these reasons that it didn't work. All of those reasons are the coach's responsibility. And I know he says, well, at the end of the day,
no, but I
guess it's up to him. I guess he'll be the fall guy. No, he is the reason all of this is not working.
So he blamed the fans. He blamed the players. He threw two other universities under the bus. I don't know. Did he throw the school under the bus? Not really, but you got to protect the paycheck. You know what I'm saying? But it wasn't the coach's fault. That's hilarious. And Jim Boeheim drives me absolutely bananas. Did you really coach Carmelo, Jim? Or did you just sit there and watch him make you millions of dollars?
Yeah, talking to people who have worked in Syracuse, which is not uncommon because it's the best communication school or one of the best communication schools. So we get a lot of people who come through the media business who have gone to Syracuse, or Northwestern is the other one. But nobody liked working with Boeheim.
But he ran a 2-3 zone, Ben. He was a genius. Genius, man.
Yeah.
And now you notice he can't detach himself from Syracuse either, right? Because these old geezers can't let it go.
Yeah, it's his whole thing. It's his whole identity.
Rough.
Also, you picked the wrong guy. If this was your hand-picked person and he couldn't do the job, at the end of the day, Jim, your coach let you
No, Ben, it's an NIL problem and the two clowns they recruited, obviously. Yeah. And then my third, speaking of crazy college coaches, there's a video out there, and I don't know if you've seen it, but of Bruce Pearl berating a fan. And he is no longer the coach at Auburn.
No, he's not.
His kid is the coach at Auburn. And Auburn's season was going down the toilet in the SEC tournament as they were blowing a lead to Tennessee. Tennessee went on like a 19-0 run. Anyway, there's a video of Bruce just screaming at a fan, losing his mind. And I got to just think to myself, there's a guy who's crashing out right now that really regrets stepping down from his head coaching job at Auburn, right? Like, Bruce, why aren't you on a beach somewhere? Why are you even at the game? Thought you were retiring.
Addicted to the rage. Addicted to the insanity of the power you get by being a successful head coach and not realizing that does not follow you the second you step out of that practice facility. The second you no longer have that job title, nobody's going to listen to you do that. Nobody wants to get yelled at. Nobody's going to care who you are anymore because you're not winning. Winning is what matters, and you allow a team to win, whether that was at Tennessee or then at Auburn. But yeah, people aren't going to put up with you being an absolute lunatic in any other walk of life.
And you totally put your kid in a bad situation.
And then you put your kid in a bad spot.
Really did. But he's crashing out bad for sure. What do you bet me he ends up coaching again?
Yeah. He will come back in.
He will come back. That guy can't just retire. No way. And I bet he found out that TV wasn't all it's cracked up to be either.
Absolutely. I think he thought he could yell at people.
Well, no, I mean, it's so an ego thing, right? Where he got in trouble on TV, and I don't know if people have been following the story closely, but he's working for CBS?
I think so.
And he was spitting a hot take about Auburn basketball because they're on the bubble, or were anyway, of getting in. And he was talking about how
Miami, Ohio.
You're right, sorry. Miami of Ohio,
yeah.
who's undefeated,
Yeah.
doesn't deserve to get in unless
Right.
they win their conference conference. Which
They
is,
did not. They lost yesterday.
Which is directly the only reason he has that opinion
Correct.
is because he's self-interested in his son's success.
Right.
So he did not put aside that bias to do his analysis on TV.
Correct.
And then he ends up interviewing the coach of Miami of Ohio. Interviewing the coach. Oh, what a disaster.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and probably people aren't talking about him for good reason, like in a good context anymore. And he's thinking to himself, man, I missed this. I better go yell at a fan.
He's also yelling at the refs. He was really, he's really giving it to everybody.
Bruce, go get a Mai Tai, bro.
Yeah. Right. Relax. You have millions of dollars.
Kick it. It's all right.
It's not his personality.
Well,
again-
it's because he's addicted to the attention. Well, I'm sure it's just like Jim Boeheim.
It's a coaching thing. For the most part, it's a coaching thing.
It just
That's how
attracts
they're
that personality?
wired. Yes. It's hard to be around and not still fall back into the, well, I'm a coach mindset.
Okay, so to bring this full circle, what you're telling me is that Michael Porter Jr. is going to be a coach when he's done playing.
Because he's a psychopath. I think
Is that what you're getting at?
I worry Michael Porter Jr. is going to end up in jail.
It's
More
going to be like
likely.
is it going to be like a Derek Fisher thing where he gets hired right off the sidelines? Like get
Speaking of
this psychopath in here coaching my team.
No, because actually, I will tip my cap to Michael Porter Jr. It's the only time you're ever going to hear me say it. At least he doesn't hide his psychopathy, where Derek Fisher had everybody fooled.
Oh, everybody thought he was the nicest guy in the
Everybody
world.
thought, I remember I told you I kind of knew the Jazz's beat writer from the Tribune growing up, Phil Miller, and he was talking about when Derek Fisher signed in Utah. He's like, this is the single best interview I've ever had in my life. He's my favorite person in the NBA to talk to. This is really going to be a great addition for the Jazz. For Phil, it is. It's a guy who will give you great quotes after every single game, win or lose. You don't realize that this is a very toxic person that's using the media to get what he wants. And he did it to become the president of the Players Basketball Association. He did it to become an NBA head coach. Was he ever an NBA head coach?
Yeah,
he
he got hired by
head coach?
No, he got hired by the Knicks the day he retired.
That's right. And then he was a WNBA head coach as well. I think he's gotten fired from that. Yeah, this is a psycho who knew how to use people.
Oh, you're leaving out the best Derek Fisher story, where he was dating Matt Barnes' ex. And Matt Barnes heard about it, drove to Derek's house, and beat him up.
Maybe Matt was trying to do his ex a solid. Maybe this wasn't Matt Barnes being the psycho ex, going back to where this conversation actually
I think there
started.
could be multiple psychos
but,
involved.
Matt Barnes saying, hey, you don't want to be around this psycho. I'm going to protect you. My ex-girlfriend. This guy's bad news. Don't be around.
I think it was his ex-wife.
I think it was, yeah.
Old Derek.
But everyone figured out Derek finally.
You know what? That his exit of the Jazz, I know controversial or whatever, but Larry Miller made the right decision.
Oh,
that,
blessing
right?
in disguise.
Yeah. No, I mean, in hindsight, you could say that, but it wasn't that way at the time. But at the time, that was the right move. Larry could have held him to his contract
very
or whatever,
honorable.
done all that.
Very honorable.
And that's why I found so gross about it from Derek Fisher's standpoint. And I remember doing the show talking about this, where I was saying you either have to be a person of poor character to use that excuse to get out of a contract just because you want to be somewhere else. And I didn't want to believe it at the time. I
Right.
didn't. I said, I'm sure this is for convenience and all this is all on the up and up. But Larry couldn't have done anything else. And I mean, he came out the hero in that situation. It was a bad situation. And he could have been one of those NBA owners that is allergic to making good decisions. And he did the right thing.
You don't
and
mess with other people's kids' health, and if
just
that's what
don't.
Derek and his wife were saying they needed, you listen and you say
Derek
yes.
painted him into a really horrible PR corner, and he ended up doing the right thing.
Yep, he did.
And it was the correct decision, and it actually was the best thing for the team.
Yep. Coincidentally.
Yeah. We'll wrap up the show. Coming up next is Jacob Ben on a Friday at 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Whether it's the Jazz, Utes, Cougars, or Aggies, These guys have got you covered.
Time to eat, fellas.
You're locked on to Jake Scott and Ben Anderson
1, 2, 3, move it.
on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Two amigos on the airways, talking sports. They got it made drinks and also loves his tie-dye. Ben's got style with his scarves. Oh my. From the islands to the basketball courts, they bring the
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Jake Scott, Ben Anderson. Thank you for making us part of your day. We just found out we're going to be doing the first segment of, at least, of Hans. I almost called it Hans. God, of
You
Scotty,
can now.
Scotty G and
Yeah,
friends.
Scotty's not listening.
Scotty down in Vegas for the Mountain West Conference tournament had to do record an interview and is now bouncing on over to his broadcast location.
Yeah, we know what that's code for.
Yeah, right. I'm on a heater. Can't leave the table when I'm on a heater. All right, Scotty. You're right.
Is he doing the camera thing down there today? Do they have that set up going? Do we know?
Like in his pregame stuff?
No, like is
he gonna be on YouTube?
KSL Sports
Oh,
and,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
YouTube? Yeah.
Right. Yep.
Is he going to be covered in glitter? What does Scotty
I
have
want him to
glitter
be
all
wearing,
over his
like,
face?
Top button undone, like a gold necklace. Like, I want to see what Scotty looks like at the card table. You know what I mean? That's a different personality.
Did I ever tell you my tradition? I guess I don't go to the casino all that much anymore, but when I was in my 20s, what I used to do, I used to wear a tie gambling, but I used to undo it and make it kind of crooked
Yeah.
so that I just looked like
you
I
had a
was,
bad night.
like just looked like I was.
You've done terrible.
I just lost everything that I'd ever
More
made
than you can afford.
because I thought it was funny.
Did you read McKay Coppin's story yesterday?
The Deseret News guy?
Formerly of the Deseret News, now of the Atlantic. He wrote a great story on gambling. Now, he is an LDS person, but he talks about this in the story. He says, he's forbidden from gambling, but the Atlantic wanted him to do a story on sports gambling. So they gave him $10,000 to gamble with for a year. And he talks about how it transformed him and how it changed every relationship he had with his family and how he was sneaking away to duck into back rooms on vacation to look at bets and figure out how to feed the need, feed this addiction that you form very quickly. It was fascinating. It was a really interesting look, especially from, and this can be maybe the worst person to actually have to do it. Somebody who does not like to partake in specific vices.
You mean
suddenly being thrown into the world on
going
the
zero
deep
to
end
hero?
is a
Yeah.
real dangerous thing. People who dive into a new lifestyle really can change dramatically. But McKay, who's a just absolutely fabulous writer, details this. And, spoiler alert, by the end of the year, he has lost all the money, and the deal he made with the Atlantic was whatever his winnings were, they would split it 50-50. If he ended up with positive money at the end of the year, based off this betting, he could keep half of it, and the Atlantic would get half of it back. And of course, he lost all but $16 of it. But it's a great story. If you are curious about the dangers of gambling and the effect it has on people, smart people, good people, anybody, it's a good story.
Well, compulsive behavior is a heck of a thing.
It really is.
It is obviously some of us are more vulnerable to some impulses than some of those behaviors than others. But gambling falls into that category, and there are more people to deal with that than you would think.
It's funny even reading the story because the way he breaks it down, instead of just headline 1, headline 2, headline 3, and breaking it up in paragraphs, as you scroll down, you can see, is he up or is he down? So you kind of even get the hook in you reading it of he's up. He spent he spent $6 of his $10,000, but he's up $3,000, and you're like, wow, he's doing well. And you even start to believe this is lucrative. This is a good business. And then of course, the next 2 paragraphs, he's lost $8,000. It's just yeah, that's the feed. That's the addiction of it. It's why it's so dangerous, and it's why it is incredible. He talks about, Chris Christie going back and kind of soliciting it and getting gambling to expand across the entire United States. And change sports as we know it. And in my opinion, not to proselytize, it's not helped sports at all.
Yeah, I would argue that it hasn't helped all of sports. I mean, there's certain.
Oh, the people are wealthier.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Some
if you
people
are,
are
if you
wealthier.
are a gambler, you love it, I'm sure.
Yeah, you probably have less money. If you're a gambler, you probably are making less.
I know, but see, I'm firmly in the let adults be adults category.
Sure, I think that's fair.
I think kids obviously are a different story, but generally trust adults to make good decisions and make the right decisions for themselves, and you can't really protect people from themselves. I'll tell you this, gambling in this state has been illegal for a long time. I had a friend in his 20s who basically ruined his life driving to Wendover.
Mm-hmm.
So even when it wasn't so accessible, people find a way to do it.
But we have made it easier.
It has become easier, but I don't know. I think, well, let me put it this way. Like, I've gone to play blackjack at the table, and it's fun.
Yeah.
I don't bet on sports really, but I have been in Vegas during the NCAA tournament and participated, and it's fun, and it makes it more fun, and I get it. But people just have to make wise decisions and stop harassing players and coaches.
The death threats. He talks about that. He talks about how easy it is to get to that point where he's watching a game and he realizes he gets mad at this person irrationally that he's never met before because this guy doesn't score a touchdown. It's just like, it really does get its hooks in you. That's worth the story. I'd recommend going and reading it.
I like to just harass coaches based on their wardrobe, not on whether or not they cover the spread.
Sure, that's fine.
Like I'll DM Bruce Pearl and be like, "You look like a clown, bro.
That was his thing.
You look like an idiot."
Yeah. Well, he went from the Tennessee suits to the kind of the sweatsuit when he got to Auburn.
On the other hand, I compliment what's her name from LSU on every single outfit.
What is her name?
I know. Now I'm blanking. What is it? I mean, dang legend.
Yeah. Came from Baylor, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Brittany Griner's coach.
Yeah.
Angel Reese's coach. She can coach the bigs. Oh, Kim Mulkey, of course.
Yeah.
No, I mean, after every game, I'm sending her a DM saying,
looking great.
6 sequin lion jacket or whatever, tiger jacket.
Looking sharp.
Yeah.
It's the boas, right?
Yeah. Yeah, notoriously. Heels and boas with a real power suit.
I bet she and Bruce Pearl have a lot in common.
Oh, I bet you she's a fascinating person. I bet you that's such an interesting person to talk to.
Interesting?
Yeah,
I mean,
I didn't endorse her behavior or anything.
By interviewing, having a conversation with Ted Bundy would be fascinating.
Oh, I bet you it would be so fun to have her in studio and talk to her. Figure out her thing. I bet she's fascinating. Coaches are interesting.
I'll work on it.
Yeah, but try and get Kim Mulkey in studio.
I really want to meet whatever acid dropper is her tailor.
Yeah. Maybe her kids dress her like your kids dress you.
My kids do dress me. That's true. We're going to fill in, at least for the time being,
at least
for
2 or 3 hours.
Scotty G.
Yeah.
Coming up next. Stay tuned.
What time do Alex
97.5,
and JJ start?
the KSL Sports Zone.